Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
This next song is dedicated to those that have lost loved ones, to tragic accidents, to cancer, to suicide, to violence. This song is dedicated to you. My name is Quintrell Provo. I'm founder of Stop the Violence, Spread the Love, which, I do events and everything basically to try and decrease violence across the province. I'm also an aspiring singer, working on my second album, and father of one. I remember there was a time when I applied to a job and I had North Preston on my resume. Never got a call back. When I changed my resume address to Dartmouth, I got a call from that same company that wouldn't hire me because of where I was from. And that's what hurts a lot of us young people that are coming from North Preston. With North Preston on your resume, a lot of businesses already has this picture in their mind what a person from North Preston might be like.
People do hire black people, but you got to look at if I went and applied for a job with the same qualifications as a white person went and applied for it, it could be a slim chance that he might get that job over me.
North side, home of the heartless, but I ain't gonna lie, North side is where the heart is. And them boys...
People are like, huh? You from North Preston? You want to stop violence? That's like the baddest part of Nova Scotia. To me, it's just, I'm from North Preston. Not all of us, are bad. Majority of us are great people. And so when people hear that, they're like, oh, there are great people in North Preston. This is the street where, my best friend, cousin, was killed, Kaylin Diggs. Basically, it's a hard, moment for me right now to be here. I know I can feel his spirit right now, but it's not the same with not having him around. What happened was I was with him, and when we were on the corner of Argyle, I went up the street to get my jacket, and then I caught a cab with a couple of my buddies since they were going to Dartmouth, and him and Cody lived in Halifax, and basically just said goodbye, love you, had a good night, and yeah, that was the last time I seen him. He was basically found over here, in this area, laying unconscious, his head hit off the curb. When Kaylin was killed, I was devastated. I was just with the guy less than a couple hours earlier downtown, and to hear that news, it's just like you're lost for words. You don't believe that it's real. And so going through that, I basically didn't want his death to be in vain and wanted something positive to come out of a negative. And so I started to Stop the Violence, and the reception that I got from the public was overwhelming, so then I continued it and just fed off of it, and here we are today. The province of Nova Scotia has been very supportive of the Stop the Violence March. Just people, because everyone can relate to it. It wasn't just for Kaylin. When I do Stop the Violence Day, it's not just for Kaylin. It's for anyone that's lost someone due to violence. Amber Curran was killed due to violence, And it's people like that, like it's not just my family, everyone's family's hurting. Even though like the crime's down and everything, and basically you don't hear much about it, there's still a stigma I find in people's minds about the community. A lot of people have this, like everybody that comes from North Preston, like all the young boys are pimps or whatever, and North Preston's finest, or where I don't think they understand that, you know, this stuff is happening all over Nova Scotia, all over Canada. It's not just North Preston, but they kind of, every time something comes back to North Preston, it gets blown out of proportion. It means that everyone's, you know, in the prostitution or whatever. But prostitution, we just had in the papers recently about a woman that was prostituting at her house in Hammonds Plains and Halifax, and she was, you know, she had two teenagers under legal age, you know, in the prostitution. And but it'll never get as big as something with North Preston. Most of that is from the media. A lot of people that have been living in Nova Scotia for 30 plus years haven't even been to North Preston in their life, but what they heard in the media has given them a perception that, you know, everything is violent. If you drive in there, you might get shot, you might, you know, not come back out, but it's nothing like that.
We don't have all angels living in North Preston, where they don't, not anywhere. We don't have in North Preston, you can't say that North Preston is that good that nothing's going to happen there. But there is. Is something going to happen in North Preston just like it would happen in Coal Harbor?
What the media can do, you know, sometimes, you know, come and see the positive sides of North Preston, you know, the positive people that are making a difference in our world today that you never hear about.
Well, I've been to North Preston probably more than most people in HRM. I bet you there's a lot of people in HRM that have never been to North Preston and would not think to visit North Preston for the very reasons that you've identified. But when you go to North Preston, you get a very strong sense of that pride.
It's a unique community, very unique community. We have so many positive things happening in the community. You know, North Preston is a great place. You know, when you drive in the community of North Preston, there's always somebody with their hand up waving to you. You know, our church is an awesome place. We got a new rec center here. We got a daycare center. We got a school. We got lawyers in our community, police officers. We got a RCMP dispatch center in the community. You know, I think North Preston, to me, is better than Dartmouth or Halifax, because it's very unique, and everybody sticks together here. You know, so for what all the negative things that happen, you hear about it right away, but the good things that happens in the community, nobody hears about it.
It's just a welcoming community, you know. I brought friends that came up there that, you know, came from away, and they're like, man, I just gotta come back here. They go back home, they're like telling everybody about North Preston, man. I had so much fun down there. The people are so welcoming, so loving. I could go to anyone's house and get supper, and so a lot of people have to go see for themselves what North Preston is about. Beautiful community, you know, you're not gonna get hurt or anything like the media says. But basically it's just a great community with a lot of great people that you never hear about.
Control, he goes to church here, and he can testify to what the young people do in this community. He sees it, you know. He's an awesome young man. He wants to help, and whatever, you know, I take my hat off to him.
when I started going into the schools doing the presentations, Stop the Violence presentations, what I've got from the students is it's things like that that, you know, bring out stories that you never would have heard. I remember one student when I was at Auburn Drive was telling how he had suicidal thoughts because he was being bullied and stuff physically, you know, but he never gave up. And then he talked about how his cousin killed himself because of violence. And, you know, it's things like that that, you know, you never hear but you can relate to. And so I find I'm making an impact on youth everywhere. Abuse, physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. A little bit about the abuse part. People that come from places like homes that they've been sexually abused. Chilling on the block with the boys, laughing and having fun, until my cousin showed up carrying a loaded gun. He shot me a few times just because we didn't get along. Now a child grows up without their father now that I'm gone. These are just a few of the violent acts happening in the world today, and enough is enough. It's time we all stand up for change. So let's put down the guns and knives and stop killing one another. Let's start lending a helping hand and showing love for each other. Mike Savage has been helping me since day one with Stop the Violence, so I'm really appreciative of him.
In my eyes, the young people in this community are awesome. You know, and when you talk about thugs, we're gonna have thugs everywhere we go, and that's gonna be a lifetime thing. Nobody gonna be able to stop it. The law can't stop it. I can't stop it. Government can't stop it because that's something that's out there. And but when you talk about North Preston, the kids and young people in North Preston are awesome people, young people. They're going to school, they get their education. I'll tell you one reason why I'm saying this is you come up to our church on a Sunday morning and see all the young people that you'll see. You won't see them nowhere in no churches. But you come to St. Thomas Baptist Church and you'll find young people.
Just to be in, just to come to church and be around the people and see everyone happy, like, people who have cancer are sitting there dancing in the church, and praising God. If they can deal with cancer, you know what I mean, and still praise God, and then my problem's not that big. So I should be happy too. And so it's just, you come there and you see people that are going through much worse things than you are. And you're just like, hey, why am I down? They're celebrating, why can't I celebrate too? And it just gives you that kind of motivation just to, go back on and keep pushing and never give up, basically. 2012 was a hard year for me because I lost my grandfather and Kaylin, and my heart wasn't doing too good that year as well, and so I felt like everything was just going in a downhill spiral, and basically you felt like you just wanted to give up. I just wanted to be in a room for months, but being around positive people and just kind of putting a smile on my face every day. And, the ultimate thing was, God. I'm raised in a Christian home, and, God just helps us so much, having that backbone, raised in the church. And you just see that, that things can change, just like that. And so I seen the difference. And then when Stop the Violence started, everything just started, flowing right back. And here I am today,
I think the most important thing is that we have to understand that, North Preston is part of the same municipality that downtown Halifax, that Sheath Harbour, that Fall River is, and we either believe that everybody should have access to opportunity as other people, or we don't.
And I'm not saying that they should not tell if something bad happens, but they should. If something happens to a family here, everybody feels it. they just say don't go to the community of North Preston. That kind of sort of paints us all with the same brush. And we're not all the same, we're different, but when things happen, we come together and we become one.
Basically, I want to use it with my Stop the Violence, so that way I can implement it in my presentations. You know, I can say this about the law, you know, I know this, and I can explain it. You know, because sometimes I'll get a question from one of the kids and students that I can't answer because I'm not the law. And, you know, I want to kind of work where I don't have to bring in a police officer, because I find kids, I was going to do that, was my first thing, I was going to bring in a police officer with me to, you know, kind of explain stuff, but then kids are like, oh no, po-po, you know what I mean, and they don't want to talk to you, and so I find if I know about the law, then I can explain stuff to them.
Quintrell is trying to encourage the younger people to get involved in community and in church, as well as their education, and as well as staying as far away from crime and other problems as possible. So he's trying to encourage them to be role models for those that would follow them.
I want to do the largest ever holding hands, the largest chain of holding hands against violence ever. From Dartmouth straight to Halifax, right across the bridge, everyone holding hands, thousands of people. That's my vision.
I'll hold hands with anybody that wants to stop the violence. I'll hold hands with people that want to stop sexual violence. I'll hold hands with people that want to stop bullying. And what we're seeing more and more is that younger people are stepping forward and saying, you know what, it's my world that you guys are making decisions about, so think about me and include me.
I see the Stop the Violence thing not only here in Nova Scotia, but going through Canada and hopefully worldwide.
Quintrell is a very impressive guy, and you know, when somebody has suffered a tragedy, to take positive action, to force positive change, is a really impressive outcome for that. So I've been very impressed with Quintrell and the work that he's done and the way that he's brought people together, you know, in a positive way out of a very negative situation. So there's a lot to be admired here.
People are gonna not like what you do. People are gonna try and put you down. People are gonna say, you can't do this, you're only one person. At the end of the day, you just continue to do it until you see change, and then you'll see change, and you'll see change in that same person that told you you couldn't do it. They'll be standing right next to you in support. Same person that said you'll never make it will be standing right next to you in support.